When I'm sitting down and writing a set list or trying to figure out what I'm going to, write and play for people, I always start with the mindset that I'm not playing for a bunch of musicians. Like you guys are musicians and you're probably fans of people that are really, really good at playing their instrument. But most average people aren't. Most people don't actually understand what goes into playing the instrument. So I approach my writing and performance from the standpoint that I need to feed people, I need to entertain people, I need to figure out how to draw them into what I'm doing. So I do that, I call it dynamic audience engagement. The idea is that I need to give people something that they can grasp onto to pull them into what I'm doing so that they watch what I do. Even if they don't understand it. They might not understand how I'm playing two guitars at the same time, whereas a lot of musical people can actually sit down and say, well, he's tuning that guitar to that, and he's playing that guitar in that key, and he's doing some very basic stuff, but most people don't really understand that. They just know that I'm doing something different. So the way I usually do that is I start a set out with something really spectacular, something that nobody's ever seen before, whether it be starting out with two guitars, or sometimes I play the mandolin and the guitar at the same time, or sometimes I'll start out with the drum, and it's something that nobody's ever seen, so it kind of grabs their attention and pulls them in. And so I write everything with that philosophy in mind, that I want to pull people into this conversation and give them something, so they give me something back, and then I give them something again, and then they give me something back, so that there's this conversation going on between the two of us. One of the philosophies that I've developed over that is this idea of, I call it rhythmic division. I have two separate techniques for that. There's what I call rhythmic division, and there's rhythmic divergence. And the idea for rhythmic division is that I've taken a really complicated rhythm that I've written for one guitar, and I've split it across two instruments. So, like when I'm doing the two guitar thing, I'll just show you an example. When I'm doing the two guitar thing, what I'm actually doing is not very complicated if I do it on just one instrument. So this part. It's not a very complicated rhythm, but what I've done is I've made it more complicated by adding this other instrument. And the truth is, I can actually play that on one instrument. I can go. But the idea is that I want to draw people in. I want to give them something that they've never seen before. So I split that rhythm between the two instruments. So now it's like. But what I'm doing is not actually that complicated. The other part that I try to remember is that while I'm doing that, I want to practice. It doesn't matter how complicated it is. I want to practice it to the point where I don't have to look at the instrument. Because when people come to hear you play, they don't want to see you just playing and being. They don't want to see that. They want to see you in the room and making eye contact with people. So even though that's a really complicated thing I'm doing, I'm not looking at the guitar. That's a deliberate thing because I need to bounce my eyes around the room and I need to make eye contact with people that aren't musical. And that's just part of the conversation. That's just a polite thing to do. Like if you talk to somebody, you want to make eye contact with them. So that's rhythmic division. So I've divided the rhythm into two parts. The other thing that I do, and these are like overriding philosophies about the music theory, is the divergence. And the divergence is the idea that I've taken a rhythmic part that I've developed for one hand and for another hand, and I've found common place. One technique that I use is I play the drums at the same time I'm playing the guitar, but I actually have both hands on the guitar and both hands on the drum. So it's like a. So all I've really done is I've modified the technique for the guitar, and I've modified the techniques that I would use on the drum, and I've found the places where those things meet, and I've put them together, and I use those techniques quite often to, like I'll use the rhythmic divergence and the rhythmic division in different places. So like if I do a song like this, it could be on the one guitar. I've split this, and I've got one rhythm going here, one rhythm going there. I switch to divergence, I take that technique and now all of a sudden I'm strumming the guitar at the same time I'm playing the